Start the Sanhedrin, fifth line from the top.
They don't know who she is.
Right. Rava said, about Palgina the Buddha. Like it's a hemshach from yesterday. Rava said, Adam that testified that this person lived with a Naida who was engaged, but they didn't say who was the Naida. They knew exactly. The man was Mezana. Wuzamu, and then two Adam came. And they were saying, hey, you two Adam are testifying of this man that he lived with somebody who was engaged. So they were, you were with us the same time that you're testifying that this incident happened in this place. You were with us in that same time, in that same place, in another place, elsewhere. So it couldn't have been that you're able to testify. There were Muslim, Narogan, these Adam get killed. Yeah, and they don't have to pay money for the loss that they were going to cause the Naida from the Ksuba, because it's Kimle but the Abmanei. But what's if? I'm sorry, not because. The reason why he doesn't have to pay for the Nai Amurasa, because they don't know who the Nai Amurasa is. They didn't say, they didn't testify about who the Nai Amurasa. They only testified that they saw this man live with a Nai Amurasa. So it wasn't a cause of a loss to the Naida that's engaged, because they didn't specify in the Eidos who she is. How about if they said Bita Shapolani, that he lived with this girl? This night Amaros, they specified who she was. Who's Zamu? And the Eidim Musa, Nerog, and they get killed, and they do pay money. Why don't you say Kimle B'derabnei? Because over here, Nai Amorasa, who does the money go to by a Nai who's engaged? To the father. So they try to kill her and the man, but not the money wasn't going to. It's two separate places. And we said the only time that we say Kimle B'derabnei, if the two punishments that the Adam was supposed to get were from the same, because of that same person who they testify. But if it's two different people, it's two different punishments. It's not Kimle B'derabnei. You got to pay for both. So he says over here, Mammon Lazel, Nafash Lazel. The Chiyuv Mammon of the Ksuba goes to the father of the Naira. So that's Mammon to one person, and because he's the Ksuba of the Naira Min HaEresin. And the Chiva Misa is because they wanted to kill the Naida herself. That's a separate person. So and there you don't say Kimle B'derabnei, only if both Chiyuvim come from the same person. But it's not, the two Chiyuvim are not from the same person. It's two different people. The Mammon, they try to make the father lose, and who do they try to kill? Is the girl, and plus the man. Rava said, another case. Adam that were testifying, Ploini Rava, that person lived, sodomized, lived with a Asher, lived a behema. It's Chaim Misa. But Asher, he lived with an ox. But the ox, they didn't say which ox it was. Okay? And they were Muslim. They said that the two other Adam came against the first Adam, saying, how can you testify that at that same time, at that same place, you were with us elsewhere? So they were Muslim. They get killed because they try to kill the man, and they don't pay any money because the shayr wouldn't have been lost from the Baal HaShayr, even though they testified falsely. They didn't say which shayr it was. So nobody, mitzad the mammon of the shayr. The shayr gets skila if it lived with a man, but here they didn't specify whose shayr it was. So therefore, the shayr does not. We don't know which shayr it is, so they don't have to pay. How about he said shayr shapleni? They say specifically, he lived with this shayr, and they were caught. They were Muslim. They even get killed. They have to pay money to the Baal HaShayr because it's two separate people. For the Adam try to kill the man who is one thing, and they try to get the ox to kill the skila and cause the Baal HaShayr loss. So it's two different people. The Mammon belongs to the Baal HaShayr, and Nafash Lazeh. And Nafash is, who did they try to kill? The Reba is another person. And they were Muslims, so they have to pay both. They get killed, plus first they pay the money, and then they get killed.
You kill them before they get the money.
Yeah, no. You kill them, you're not going to get your money. First they ask them to buy dengue, and then you kill them. Why do we need another case? These are mamish identical.
Same thing, yeah.
It's the same thing. He says the second case he brought because he's running to say after the first case Akasha. He had to first say the first case, the base on the first case Akasha. What do you mean? The Bay Rava asked, an aid that testified plainly Rava Shoiri. Until now, we're talking about Shoir Shel Plaini. Now he's saying that that person lived with my Shoir. So now he's, what's the din? Could we say that his Shoir should get killed because, or should not be able to get killed because he's a Karev? And an Adam who's a Karev to his money, it's his money. His Edus is bottle. So we'll say Palginan, the Buddha, he's only believed about the man living with a shoy, but not with his own shoy because he's a karev to the shoy. It's his money, karev to his money. Or maybe or perhaps we'll say that a person is not a karev when it comes to money. I'm sorry, he starts off. That's right. Or perhaps an adam karev my money. Or we will say that a person is a karev. So the two shilas is, should we say that a person is not a karev to his money, so the shor gets killed? Or do we say no, the shor doesn't get killed? Punkt via mensch cannot testify about himself. He cannot testify about his money, and the shor does not get killed. All will accept his edus is for the Buddha only for the person that lived with a shor, but not with his own shor. After the shaila was asked, Rava answered on his own suffix. Adam karev eitz latzmi. A person is karev to himself. Ain't Adam karev eitz money. But when it comes to money, he's not a karev. So you have three dargas. We have Adam karev eitz atzmi. He cannot testify on himself that he did it willingly. You remember that case that he allowed the man to live with him. So there he's not believed. And then we said, even when it comes to Ishta, we had to have, it's his wife, it's not him himself. But we said, he's still Adam Karev Eitzel Ishta. But when it comes to Mamain, we say, no. Mamain, a person is not Karev Eitzel Mamain. Like, the din would be you kill the Sheikh.
That's it.
Yeah, since you believed him already on that this person is a Reva, we also believe him that it was his Sheikh and we killed the Sheikh. And we don't say, Palgina di Buddha over here. So you bought a makis b'shleisha. We learned in the Mishnah when in front of a bezdin, how many a dayanim could the dayanim paskin from malchus? 3 dayanim. Where do we know that? Ravuna says in the pasuk, ushvatum. It says, and they should judge him. But the dayanim should judge him. That's b'lashon rabim shnaim. It's 2. And so if it's 2. Ve'im bezdin shakal. A bezdin cannot be even. We said there has to be a reiv. So what do we do? You have to add another one. That's why it's 3 dayanim. Elamiyat, fact the mother. Why are you saying 2? In that same pasuk it says, v'itzdikku esarasha v'ishiu. V'itzdikku esatzadik v'ishiu esarasha. So v'itzdikku is plural, is shnayim, and there's another 2 dayanim, so that's 4. And then it says in that same pasuk, v'ishiu, plural again, lashon rabim, shnaim, which is another 2, so it should be 6. And since it's an even bezdin, we cannot have a even bezdin, so we add 1. Hari kan shiva, so you have 7 dayanim. Zak Yemara, who mibayilei lekadula. The hitzdiko of that pasuk, the hitzdiko v'ishiu of that pasuk, we need it for a special drasha. The Ruma Aula said, Remes leidim zaydim min atir benayim. Where is the remes that Adam? We punished the Adam who wanted to be mazim the first, the Adam that were caught to be zaymim. How do we know they get punished, just like what they wanted to do? So where do we learn out the remes? So obviously we wanted to say from the Yitzdik V'Yishiyu. Says you want what? Remes leidim zaydim. We need a remes for. What do you mean the remes leidim zaydim? It says we're feidish in the pasuk. V'asisim loy kasher zamam. That you punish the Edom Zayim and whatever they wanted to do to that person, we punish them with that same punishment. Zakti Mara no the Pirish Zazay. This is the Kavanah. Rabbis Leidim Zayim Shaloikin. Rabbis Leidim Zayim that they get Malchus Menayim. From where do we know? Meaning that 2 Edom, 2 Kahanim testified about 1 Kohen that he's a Cholol. What does it mean a Cholol? That he was born from a Kohen that was married to a Gerusha. So he's a Apostle Kohen. Here we don't say kasha zaman, just like he became a halal. So these two kahanim who are good kahanim, we're going to say, oh, you two are halalim. It doesn't work that way. Rather, they get malchus. So where do we know they get malchus? Menaya. So it says in the possibility you should justify the tzaddik and you should make the rasha guilty. And then it says bin hakis rasha, and then the rasha, of course, you give malchus. Only because you made the tzaddik righteous, then Beishir Rasha and the Rasha is shuldig min hakis rasha. That's why he gets malchus. I mean, the malchus that the Rasha is chayiv is because of his rishus. Has nothing to do with if it's Nikos Atzadik. Why does the pasuk have to bring him it's Nikos Atzadik in order to punish the Rasha with Malchus? The Rasha deserves Malchus just because he shares Rasha, because of his rishus. What do you have to say the extra words? It's Nikos Atzadik. Only it's talking about this is the Piddush in the pasuk. It's talking about Eidim that they Chatchila made the Tzadik guilty. They testified on somebody that's righteous that he's not righteous. And then a second pair of Eidim came, it's Nikos HaTzadik, and they said, you Eidim are false Eidim, a Muslim, and the Tzadik is a Tzadik. The Mikora, that he was a Chatchila. No, a Tzadik. And they made these first Eidim as the Rishoyim. So from these extra words, we learn out in this case, where they testified about a person that he's a ben gerusha, and then the second Adam came and said, no, he's a regular full-fledged client, and the first Adam of Musa are Rishayim the Adam. So it says, what do we do? In bin hakzerasha, they try to make him a ben gerusha, so therefore we're gonna we'll give this person, these two Adam who are koyanim, will give them malchus. Not we're going to punish them that they become ben gerusha. That we can't do. From this pasuk we learn out that they get malchus. In fact, you wonder, why do I need a pasuk to tell us where two kahanim testified against one kohen that they get malchus? But typically learn out loisana that these two edim. It says loisana ve'ra'acha. A person shouldn't testify false edus. So it's a lav. So these first two Eidim get malchus because of loisana, not because of the extra words v'yitznikos hatzadik. So what do I need the extra words v'yitznikos hatzadik? Says you want to know from loisana they wouldn't get malchus. Mishum davlei lav shein by ma'isa. It's a lav that doesn't have a ma'isa, and malchus. No, it says no. So it says malchus is chayv rasha because of his rishus. It says in the pasuk, what's the word of the pasuk? It says, "Im loy sishmei lasois." You're not going to watch yourself from doing an aveda. It has to be an action. So what do we learn? It says, "V'hifla Hashem es makoischa." So from the lashon lasis, we learn out dafka aveda. That it has a mice in it. If he does aveda with a mice, that's where you get malchus. And here it was without malchus. In the name of Rabbi Yishmael, they said you need 23 dayanim to pass him a malchus. My time to Rabbi Yishmael. What's the reason of Rabbi Yishmael? We learn out from the Gzei Shava. Mitchayov and Mises. We learn out Rasha that says by Rasha by malchus from Rasha Mitchayov Mises. Ksiv Hacha. It says over here by malchus. V'hayim bin hakis harasha. It says the lashon Rasha by malchus. V'hayim bin hakis. It's talking about malchus. Uksib Hasman, it's written by Chayav and Mises, Asher Hu Rasha Lamos. It says the word Rasha by Misa. Ma'ala Halan, just like by Misa, it's 23 dayanim, like we learned in our Mishnah, that when it comes to Misa, you need a minimum of 23 dayanim. Din the Fash is 23. Afkan Besman Shloisha, so too, when it comes to Malchus, you need 23 dayanim. Rava says, Malchus b'mkei Misa Medes. Malchus is like one of the Misas. You know, you have Skila, Seifa, Herek. Yeah, Malchus, Herek. Yeah, Malchus also. Malchus is one of the Misas. So that's why Malchus is like Din in the Fashis. That's why you need 23 Dayanim. There's nothing wrong. Rava gave another teretz. Rava said to Ravashi, if so, we know there's he shuts up. If the guy can absorb so many Malchus, and if not, don't give him so many. Lemechaya, someone give him clap, give them malchus. If he's going to die, let him die. This is one of the misas. You're saying malchus is among the skila sefer, so malchus is one of them. Let him die. He's deserving of it. He's mechuy misa. I'm late. Ravash said Ravach brei davog. The brei davog. Amakra. It says in the pasuk by malchus menikla achicha leinacha. You should degrade your brother in your eyes. Kimachisa agava dechayamosis. It says when you give malchus, you have to give him somebody that's alive. So when you give him malchus and he dies after 20, you can't hit him if he's dead. You have to hit somebody that's alive.
He has to feel it.
Keep him alive and then beat him.
No, he has 39 malchus.
He has to feel it.
But then he has to, and you can't kill him because it says malchus has to be on somebody that's alive.
You have to do it shvat. You can't hit him hard. Do shvat.
No, it doesn't. It says.
How hard do you have to give him the malchus?
You have to give him the right, whatever the
blood just split over
lead tipped whip.
okay, so he's not going. So it has to be a chicha. It has to be somebody on somebody alive. In fact, Yomar Elahad the Tanya only this that we learned in the Braisa. Somebody was b'chuy in malchus. I'm doing a Kabbalah lesson. They made a cheshbon. He can only absorb 20 malchus. Okay, ein makin no yisrael malchus haru is nishtavish. Yeah, sure. They had people that said that he could only absorb. So they don't hit him only a malchus in sets of 3. Because we learned this from a pasuk that malchus has to be in the set of 3. That 2/3 have to be in the back, by B'urachim in the middle on the top, 1 on the top, and 2 in the back. So it has to be sets of 3. 2/3 of it is in the back, and 1 is in the front.
Oh, you malchus
So
in front?
yeah, and then you chop it 2 in the back, and then the back on the top. So it's 2 in the back, 2 in the back, and 1 on the top. So he says it's sets of 3s. The Kamahin, so how many could you give if he can only absorb 20? Sorry, you have to do it in 3, so you can only give 18. Because if you go to 21, he'll be dead. So and you have to do sets of 3. In fact, let him give him 21, he'll die by the 21st. Says the Chimayis, let him die. He's Mechuiva Misa, because Lamit Shal Dava, he's Chai Misa. So it says that when you give malchus, you have to give on somebody that's alive, and and he shouldn't die afterwards. He has to be able to live afterwards, because it says achicha, somebody like you, amalei. So the Gemara is saying, yeah, he lived. Let's say he lived till 21, and then he dies. You give him till 21, and then he dies. Amalei, so Ravashi said, no. Amakra, it says in the pasuk, you should degrade your brother. Meaning it's mashma achashalaka if they gave him the malchus. You still need your brother that he should be like you, and he should be degraded after he got the malchus. So it has to be achicha kamecha, which is alive. The leika, when he did 21, he's not alive anymore. So you have to do it in a way that he stays alive after that he's like you. Achicha kamecha. It says, the Ibra of the Chodesh, you have 29 and a half days. So you can make a cheshbon when it's 29 and a half days. That's what the real month is. So sometimes you say the half a day, you give it to the last month and you make it a 30th day. And sometimes you add that half a day to the next month. So it's 29 days and it's the last day goes to the next month. So Ibra Chodesh, that calculation, Ibra Chodesh is done with 3. It says you want a chishuv like it on it. We didn't say calculations. Is done by 3. Kiddush, like you're we didn't say when the Bezdin says Mekudesh HaChedesh, they didn't learn that it has to be done in 3. Rather, what was the lashon? Ele Ibur, only Ibur HaChedesh. So what is this Meuba? To say Meuba HaChedesh, you want to say this month is Meuba. You're going to say on the 30th day it's a Meuba de HaChedesh and the day belongs before. That you need to call out with 3 dayanim that it's a Meuba, it's a full month. That is 30 days. Loyla Kacha. Don't say anything. Don't be Mekadosh the 30th day. Or automatically, the 30th day is going to be for the past month, and the 31st day is going to be the first day of the Chodesh. If you don't designate the 30th day, nobody says a word about the 30th day. Everybody's going to assume the 30th day belonged to the previous month, and the first day of the next month is the 31st day. Abai said, they have to learn in the gears of the Mishnah Kiddush HaChodesh, that the Kiddush HaChodesh, when they say the Kiddush HaChodesh person, has to be said in front of 3 dayanim. Tanya Nami Hochi, instead of Ibor Chaydish, correct. Tanya Nami Hochi, so too, we learned similar in the Braisa. Kiddush HaChaydish ve'Ibor HaShana b'Shloisha, Dibri Rabbeya, the Kiddush. When Bezdin says, Mekudesh HaChaydish, the Chaydish is sanctified now, it's today. Or by Ibor HaShana, it's done in front of three, those are the words Rabbeya. Amar Allah. How could you say that the Gersa all of a sudden became Kiddush? He says, even though the derech of the Tana is to say is missing a word or two, but to completely swap a word, to exchange a word from Ibur to Kiddush, that doesn't exist. So therefore, Rava says that this is how you have to say the words of the Mishnah. Kiddush, they will mekadosh the Chaydish b'yoyim Ibur, on the 30th day. B'shloisha, that's done in front of three. Acha Ibur like a Kiddush. But if the Chaydish start on the 31st day, we don't call out Mekudesh HaChaydish. Umani, who does this follow? Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Tzadiki. The Tanan that we learned in the Mishnah. Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Tzadiki, Im lo nira bizmanoi. If the Levana was not seen in the 29th night, let's say, so that to say that the 30th day is Chaydish. So then, ein mekach noisei, we're not mekadesh it. The 30th day, shekva kitchuv b'shamayim, because the 30th day the 30th night becomes kiddush, and the first day is chiddush, is the 31st day. So only which day you're going to be mekadesh? Only the 30th day, but not the 31st. If the 31st day is going to be the chiddush, we're going to say the Eibushter was mekadesh it, and Bezdin is not mekadesh it. Rav Nachman says faket kiddush acha ibur. The Bezdin's Mekadosh when it's not a normal Chaydish, when it's a full month. It's 30 days, so the 31st day is going to be the Chaydish. Then it's done, the Kiddush Bezdin's Mekadosh, the Chaydish, B'shleish in front of 3 Dayanim. B'yoyim Ibur, but on a normal month when it's done on the 30th, the Chaydish is on the 30th day, Leika Kiddush, then Bezdin is not Mekadosh. Umani, who does this follow?
What do they do?
Nothing. Umani, who? The 30th, and it's going to be the Chaydish. Umani, who does it follow? Plimai. It follows Plimai. Tanya, we learned in the Braisa, Plimai, Bizmanoi, a Mekach Neisei. If it's Bizmanoi, if the Chaydish is in its normal time, there's no Kiddush. Everybody knows. Nobody, they didn't make.
Talking about Eidos here now also.
But here he's talking about the Dayanim who have to say Mekudesh HaChaydish. They don't say it on the 30th day. On the regular, when it falls up is money. Shaloi is money, but if it falls out Shaloi is money on the 31st day, Yemos Mekach Noisei, then Bezdin says Mekudesh HaChaydish, and it has to be done in front of 3 Dayanim.
So what happens on the 31st day? It becomes on the first day.
The first day, yeah. Yeah. Ravashi says, no, it has nothing to do with Kiddush. It's the calculation, the Cheshbeinasin. Like I said before, because every month is really 29 and a half days, so they make a cheshbon if the half a day, we consider it as a day from the previous month or the next month. So my Ibor. So what does it mean, Ibor? He says, Chishuv the Ibor, the calculations of making it a Ibor into a full month for 30 days, and the 31st day will be a Chaydish or Faket. So why didn't the Mishnah say Befeida is Chishuv Ibor HaChaydish? So he says, V'ayde the Kabbalah Mishneh, since he wanted to learn Ibor Hashana, and he didn't use the word Chishuv, right? And his kavanah was whether it's Chishuv or Kiddush. Tananami, Ibor HaChaydish. Therefore, he also learned the same lashon as by Ibor Hashana, Ibor HaChaydish.
But he should have used the word Chishuv.
Yeah, he should have used the word Chishuv, but since he didn't use it by Ibor Hashana, he didn't use it by Ibor HaChaydish. Chishuv HaChaydishin. So only one.
Should have used Kiddush?
Chishuv. It should have said Chishuv Ibor HaChaydish. But he says since they didn't use the word Chishuv by Ibor Hashana, they don't use it by Ibor HaChaydish either. But Chishuv HaChaydishin, only if it's the calculations of the Chaydish, how it should work, that's done by 3 Dayanim. Kiddush HaChaydish lay. But to be Mekadosh the Chaydish, he says Bezdin doesn't have to be Mekadosh it at all. Not in the Chaydish Malay, not in the Chaydish Chaser. Umani, and who does this Mishnah follow? Rabbi Lezer, he follows Rabbi Lezer. The time Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Lezer, Bein Bizmani, Bein Shalei Bizmani. Whether the moon was seen in its time, whether it was not, and the 31st day is going to be the Chaydish.
When is this month?
29th night, so the 30th day is going to be the Chaydish. That's normally. So the Ben is money, Ben Shleim is money, and if we're seeing that the 30th night, meaning the 31st, is going to be Neshchedesh Eim Mekach, you say Bezin is not Mekadeshet. Shenem, like it says in the Pasuk, by Yovel V'Kadash Meshlasach Hamishim Shana, they should sanctify the 50th year. Shana Matam Mekadesh. Only the year they're going to be Mekadesh. V'Yata Mekadesh Chadashim, but we're not Mekadesh Chadashim at all. So Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Leib Mishleisha. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says that when it comes to Iba Hashana. Iba Hashana means you add an extra month in the year. Another Chodesh Adar, right? You have sometimes 2 Adars and sometimes 1. So Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says you start off with 3, and then you go back and forth with 5, and you finalize with 7. That's what the Mishnah said. Tanya, we learned in the Braisa, how do you explain what Rabbi Shimon Gamliel said? Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, B'shleisha maschilin. Where you said with 3 you start to calculate. If you need Iba Hashana. A bezin of 3 to see if you should add a month this year. Ubechamisha noisin, then noisnin, and with 5 dayanim you go back and forth. The goyim b'shiva, and you finalize it with 7.
When do you do this?
Oh, so he says when is it 3 for 5? How do you go to these numbers? So he says like this: Echadoima leishem. One of the 3 dayanim say, yeah, we gotta sit down and be ma'ayin. If we should be ma'abed Hashana, we should add another month.
When did they sit down? This is the 29th and a half by night?
We're not 29 and a half. We're talking about the year. If we should add another month. So once one of the 3 dayanim said, yep, you got to sit down and look into it this year. Because Pesach, you might be over Chametz. You got to know exactly when Pesach falls out. Should we add another month or not? And 2 of the 3 dayanim says, no, you don't have to sit. It's a clear thing. You don't have to calculate. Then batal yachad b'miyotei.
What is clear?
They said it's clear to us that it's not going to be a Ibo Shana, or it's clear to. They said there's nothing to calculate here for this year. So we go according to the
What's the
Ray.
reason that you're calculating another month?
Because of the extra days that.
You want certain days to certain Yom Tovim to come out on certain days.
Days, and you have to make sure that it's in the right Zman.
Yeah.
Okay, so he says. We're not. If 2 of them, one of them said we should calculate, and 2 out of the 3 said not, so the yachid is bottled and finished. There's nothing to sit down.
So there won't be any.
No, there won't be a Ibashon. 2 of them say, yeah, we got to sit down and make this. If the year should have it should be a Ibad Dikayah. But yeah, 2 of the dayanim. One says not. So now we have a problem. So we have. Yeah, once you have 2, so then you got to add another 2 dayanim to see, to match up. You have 2, and you can't have 2 against 2. So you had 3, so there'll be a rave whether they should calculate. Now you have 5. Now out of the 5, once you have the 5, 2 are saying that you have to, but 3, the majority says no, there's no need. So already at the stage of 5, it becomes batal. How about Shleishayim and Tzicha? But what's if it was the reverse? 3 of the Dayanim say you have to, Shnaim and Tzicha, and 2 out of the 5 says that you don't have to. Now, because you have 2 and 3, right? But you have to finalize it. So you have to add another 2 Dayanim, that there should be a Ra'im, because Shein Aminyan and Pachs B'Shiva. Because for the Ibo Shanim, for finalizing, you need 7. You cannot have less than 7. So if you want to Hani Shloisha Chamish B'Shiva, connected me. So what's the remes? The 3, 5, and 7. Where do we get this number? Where's the remes for it? It says, but Rav Yitzchak bar Nachmani with another person with him argue. Umani, who is that person? Rav Shimon Pazi. Who was the extra person that was with Rav Yitzchak bar Nachmani? Rav Shimon Pazi. Others say it was the reverse. Rav Shimon Pazi v'chadei. Rav Shimon Pazi was walking with another person with him. Umano, who was the other person with him? Rabbi Yitzchak bar Nachmani to say he was less chashuv. Okay.
Either way,
they were both. Okay, so you have 2 gifts, so now both are chashuv. Chad Omar, can I get Birchas Kohanim? One says 3, 5, and 7 comes from the Birchas Kohanim because the first pasuk is 3 words. Second pasuk is 5 words. And this last pasuk is 7. Yis Hashem Parvei Lacha, V'yas L'cha Shalom, 7 words. Okay, Chad Omar, no, can I get Shleish Shem Asaf? That the 3 correspond to the 3 that watched the Kingdom of the Beis Hamikdash in the time of Tzidkiah. And then it says Chamisha Merei Pnei HaMelech. And then there was 5 for those that saw the Pnei HaMelech. This is also by Tzidkiyahu. And then Shiva Rei Pnei HaMelech, that's referring by Esther. There were 7 that saw the Pnei HaMelech. Tony Av Yosef, Anish, Shleish, Chamisha, Shiva. This 3, 5, and 7 is the Shleish is Keneged Shemi Asaf, corresponds to those that watched the Klei HaMikdash. Chamish Merei Pnei HaMelech. And the Shiva is Rei Pnei HaMelech. So we say there's Malchus Le'arake, Malchus Le'akia. So there's 2 Malchusim. So here, since we're dealing with Malchus the Rakia, we're dealing with Cheshbenesin that can affect L'mashal Pesach. If it's not going to be in the right time, you're going to be Eva and Chametz. So therefore, you're dealing with the Rakia. That's why you need a minimum of 7. Till now, why didn't you tell us this Piddush? It's a beautiful Piddush. Why didn't you tell us? I didn't know that you needed to hear this Remes. I thought you knew it. And he said to Rav Yosef said to them, was there ever a time that you asked me a shayla and you needed to find out something and I didn't answer you? I always answered you.